This is just a quick video to show you what's inside the cap and how to replace the seals and stuff. So this is a dirty cap coming off the bike, and you can see the grease in here. And you can probably also see, sorry, that's my arm there, you can see the O-ring seal here, okay? Now, obviously you just take that out and clean everything before you put it back together. Now, I'll just show you what a new seal looks like. Okay, and you're trying to get the seal onto that little tiny rim there. Get a bit closer, you can just see that little lip. Now that is almost impossible, well, it's certainly very difficult. And what often happens is if you struggle with this and you get a cap on, I'll use a different colour cap here just so you can see the O-ring against it a bit more clearly. When you look inside, you often end up, do you see, where the O-ring is not actually in the correct position, and this is really bad news because this tends to go in your ratchet. Well, the ratchet is extremely fault tolerant, but it doesn't like these O-rings in much, and also, of course, it stops your sealing very well. So fitting this O-ring is important to get right, and the way to do it is to start with a cap like this. Start with just the cap, and if you look, this is a new O-ring and it's a little bit, just a little bit loose. Okay, so it'll fall out. However, if you want to make sure it's a bit tighter, what we do is give it a bit of a stretch. It's tighter, when I say that, I meant tighter with the outside of this. And then, if we bring back the old one, which has already got lots of grease in, normally we pack grease around the edge and then push this is actually elongated a bit, this one, push it back in to the cap all the way around, and obviously you clean out this dirty grease and put some clean grease in. But normally when we do this, when you've got this all the way around, you can actually get this O-ring in, stuck in the grease. I normally start with the whole of this little lip here. I usually start with this filled up with grease all the way around here, so that you can actually stick this in really well. And when you've got it stuck into the grease, you can even turn this upside down, it won't fall out. The grease holds it in place. And then when you put it on the disc, you can handle it without the O-ring falling out, and you can then locate it in place. Obviously I've removed it there, but then if you were to look inside, which you can't do unfortunately when you've built it, obviously it's all together, but you wouldn't have any O-rings sticking out into the mechanism of the ratchet. So this is quite important, and this is a very easy way to do it. So hopefully that's useful. One of the other things that's useful when you are putting this all back together on your bike is what I do is as I'm turning the bolts which hold this cap in place, so I'm screwing the bolts in here, I keep turning the ratchet of the hub just to check it's running nice and smooth, and if you do get an O-ring in, you can usually feel it. However, if you use this method of, if you like, gluing the O-ring into the corner recess before you put it in with grease, then that really does position it very well, and you won't get it stuck in the wrong place. Another thing to remember is after you've reassembled everything, again it'll look like this when it's reassembled, remember that grease will also be the wrong side of the seal because you're using the grease to hold the seal in place. So it's really worth giving your discs a good clean before you put them back on the bike, and also clean around this area here. Make sure you clean around here for any traces of grease with just a clean rag. What I would also do is the next ride or two, again when you're just cleaning your bike, obviously only do it with a wet rag, don't squirt anything near any pivots or any bearings, but just run your rag around here as well, just to make sure any traces of that grease are gone. We also recommend very much to use our grease for this location. The reason is it's got a very high drop point, which means that it doesn't melt and become liquid until quite a high temperature, so it's unlikely to just start running out in hot weather. That's one of the reasons. It's also a nice low viscosity grease too, so the ratchets run nice and smooth. Hopefully that's useful. Bye.